CEO Ron from Creating the Difference, TruBallReviews.com. Here we go. Dustin Zayner's going to throw the IQ Tour at 2,000 grit true cut from a third arrow. Holy cow, that ball did not recover like I thought it was going to recover. But that's okay. That's all right. That's fine. We're actually going to do the Hammer Redemption Hybrid. We're going to see how that ball rolls. Now, the Hammer Redemption Hybrid is a polished ball. So it's going to scan closer to 5,000 grit rather than 2,000 grit. So we'll do a comparison there too. Dustin's going to throw the ball similar. Well, that was interesting. Those balls actually were extremely close, and they did not do the same thing. But the point of the ball review is to let you know how the bowling ball compares to the control ball so that you can make a determination whether this ball is a ball for you or not. You can actually see we got some spectro data too. The spectro data helps us out, lets us see exactly what's going on. We got some cool information we can read from spectro as well. So Dustin's gonna throw that IQ Tour again on third arrow. There we go, he got him a nice flush strike. And I basically use the spectro data to kind of tell us if he's throwing the ball good or not, which he's throwing it pretty solid right now. And then it also allows us to see some of the performance metrics of the ball. He'll have to get a full rack again here. So we're going to be able to look at things like total hook, entry angle, when the ball's rolling, what the break point is, and where the break point is actually at, which is all helpful for us to be able to determine the ball motion. Because what we're trying to consider here is the ball motion. So that ball definitely did not recover. Now, here's what's interesting. Right now, that ball was about 5 boards weaker, 5 boards less total hook, and definitely goes longer than the IQ Tour. But gotta keep in mind, we're playing with different surfaces here. The ball's got 2 completely different surfaces, and as you know, surface is the most impactful thing when it comes to ball reaction, ball motion. So different surfaces should mean different reactions. So Dustin's gonna move to the right. He's gonna play second arrow because there's more friction to the right, so we'll be able to watch the IQ Tour react to the friction off the second arrow. It's close. And the ball hooked more like we would expect it to. And then they'll be able to throw the Hammer Redemption Hybrid at the second arrow too, because we want to see how that ball compares. That's what's important here. Maybe you need a bowling ball that is longer and less total hook than your IQ Tour drilled the same way as ours is. Finish at 2,000 grit. And if that's the case, then maybe this ball is the piece for you. And if not, then maybe this is not the piece from you. You can get a different bowling ball from Hammer that you may want to get. So, there's our second arrow, a little further right. Ball just didn't quite come around the corner there. It did actually hook more though, but you know, the ball was further right. So that could be a good indication that this ball just needs a little bit more friction to give you the performance you may be looking for. So Dustin, do me a favor, throw that Redemption Hybrid again, please. That ball was a little further right. We want to get it a little closer, just to make sure we are getting an accurate response. You can watch the back end reaction. You can watch the ball go through the pins. We're a big fan of throwing the balls the same on the front and letting the back end reaction and the back end of the lane tell you what's actually happening. Well, that shot obviously was in, and it did not, and it restruck. So less about us throwing strikes here, more about us showing you what the bowling ball is meant to do and what the bowling ball does do. That shot was a little bit in. That's all right, Dustin. If you want to throw it again, you can. If you don't, you want to move in, let's do that. Cool. So he's going to throw it one more time over that second arrow to give us a good reference point of how this ball performs relative to a 2,000 grit sanded IQ Tour. There we go. That one's pretty solid. Not as much back end reaction. So now we know that. So which means if Dustin goes to fourth arrow, that ball's not going to recover at all because there's more oil in there. So why don't, instead of us going to fourth, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and throw one shot at fourth arrow with a fresh rack, just so we can show. But I imagine what's going to happen is we're going to exaggerate that difference between these 2 bowling balls, because the IQ Tour being at 2,000 grit, and it appears that it is a bigger total hooking bowling ball. It picks up earlier, so that's closer to 5th arrow. Left him a nice little 9 pin. Little nasty 9-pin right there, but it was closer to 5th arrow. But I imagine that the IQ Tour, with it hooking earlier, obviously being a continuous ball, and this Hammer Redemption hybrid ball not hooking as early, that it may actually go too long. Are you going to stay at that 5th arrow?
I can stay at 5th arrow, yes.
No, go back to 4th arrow. So throw 4th arrow, and then we'll switch back to the other ball. He's going to throw the IQ, or he's going to throw the Redemption over 4th arrow. That's closer. That's kind of what we expected. So now throw the IQ Tour in that spot, sir. We're using clutch. Clutch technology allows us to actually show the specto data on the lane. So you can see what we see, and you can get a real good visualization. The thing I like about clutch is that, as you can see there, when we cut the lights off, the line actually stays there for a shot, which allows you to do a good comparison between the two bowling balls. So there we go. Identical shots, not identical reactions. So if you're looking for a ball that is longer, right? Looking for a ball that is a little bit smoother, looking for a ball that is less back end, then Hammer Redemption Hybrid may be your piece. That may be what you need to add to your bag. And that's why it's so critical and so important that you have the control ball, right? Because if you have the control ball drilled the same way that our control ball is drilled, which our ball happens to be drilled what way, Dustin? How is our control ball drilled? It is actually 60 degrees by 4 3/4 inches by 30 degrees. That is the key that we are using from a layout standpoint to be able, all of our balls lay it that way actually. And by doing that, it gives the layout no longer, it is no longer a variable in the test. So now we get the lights off. He's going back to 3rd arrow. We're gonna see how the IQ Tour performs. It's a little inside 3rd arrow. And the IQ Tour kicks out the 7-pin. It kicked it out. So now he's going to switch balls, try to repeat that shot and throw the Hammer Redemption Hybrid, which we now kind of have established the performance of that bowling ball. So we'll take a peek and see what happens. That's a good shot, and it did not recover. So I mean, that's fine. Basically, they're about, I would say, I'm looking at the data here. The data would indicate if those shots, which they were thrown the same, they are 3 boards apart. So Dustin, I would like for you to adjust your line. I'd like for you to move your feet 3 boards and your target 1 board to the right, correct?
That last shot?
Yeah. We're just gonna move everything a little bit right, which gives us a little bit more friction. And that should be enough to make up the difference. We'll see. We'll see if we're close. So there's what we were asking for. Oh yeah! Oh man, come on! Well, at least hit the pocket. So that gives you a good understanding of the difference between the Hammer Redemption Hybrid and the IQ Tour. Dustin, I want you now, we're gonna do a little bit of a similar surface, right? We're gonna grab a IQ Tour that is also at 5,000 grit, which is a much closer surface to the Hammer Redemption Hybrid. And we're gonna throw it there. Let's throw it in the exact same spot if you don't mind. Let's see if a similar surface IQ Tour would be better performing or not as good as performing totally. So that's a little bit wide right. A little bit further right, as you can see. So we will do that shot again. And yeah, so I mean, to me, what I'm seeing here is definitely, we're gonna throw that ball again in the same spot, but what I'm seeing is this is gonna be one of those pieces that the Redemption Hybrid is, if you're looking for a ball relative to the IQ Tour, it's gonna be a ball that when the lanes begin to transition, right? When the IQ Tour is looking too much, you'll be able to go to this Redemption Hybrid. That's a better shot. And we got a blower 710. Well, that gives us a good basic understanding of the IQ Tour at the same finish as the Hammer Redemption Hybrid. If you want to buy the Hammer Redemption Hybrid, you can get that bowling ball at Bowling for Less. We got it right there for you. And if you like what we're doing, make sure you click out some of these videos that we got. Subscribe to this channel, like the channel. You'll be able to see all of the cool comparisons that we're doing with all of the balls. We got all the balls from all the manufacturers, and we're doing all the comparisons. So with that being said, I'm out of here. CEO Ronald for Creative Difference. Talk to you soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And check out one of the other videos on the screen for more information. Thanks for joining us.